Getting there, chat.
Two ball guys with Ranch and Rhyme. Two ball guys with Ranch and Rhyme. Two ball guys with Ranch and Rhyme. A long winded Monday morning, time to rise and shine. Want some motivation? Well, I know a few guys with the internet connection. 216 is on. Tune in. The Two Ball Guys with Ranch and Rhyme. Introducing Coach Papa Tim Stewart's his name. He's a master with the pen in the poetry game. He wants to see a better world and he plays his part. Always loving, always giving, cause he's got a big heart. The co-host won't boast, but he could stand on his own. From the state of Iowa, it's the man Ken Jones. He's impressive on the mic and he don't need a cord. Whether hosting or he's hooping, he's controlling the boards. And the one feeding the hungry herd around the world. With timely observation, dropping nuggets and pearls. Though he's not a city slicker, he's as cool as the Fonz. It's the witty wisdom giver, Mr. Ranch and Rhyme. Set the tone for your week, 216 is on. Tune in to Two Ball Guys with Ranch and Rhyme.
Rancher Ron and Uncle Pete, they're up there in heaven just looking down over
Two ball guys and a microphone. Of course, happy Juneteenth, happy Father's Day yesterday.
Yeah, you had some time with your girls. You talked to Spencer?
Well, he texted.
Did he?
That was good. Which is awesome. Hey, everybody, we just want to say thanks for tuning in. Of course, Two Bald Guys and a Microphone brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Check them out if you need a massage. They do acupuncture, you name it. Massage therapy, reflexology. They're all licensed massage therapists. So if you carry a little bit of stress in your body, they can.
He's a great conversationalist too. It's not like going to a dentist where they start talking to you.
Yeah,
you know, he's got you on the table, and he really talks some things out as well as works them out.
That's
it.
Good
guy.
Of course, Ted Legal. Good morning. And yes, the track is cut by Demond K. Ross, and Demond will be on probably this summer at some point. He's always been a favorite of ours. And happy Father's Day to you, Ted. A little late, and happy Juneteenth. Of course, that was yesterday. Nationally, though, here it is now a national. It's now a national holiday, so we are, of course, celebrating it today in America, Juneteenth. So. Good stuff. We're still riding in the self-help myth, self-help things. And what I wanted to talk about today is, why is it that we trust self-help books from people we don't even know, and yet we don't trust a mentor or a coach?
It's one of the things I was kind of going over this morning. We learn things and the things seem to work, but as soon as we get distracted, we stop doing them.
Yeah.
We get into a good book. It says, hey, if you do these 4 things, you will find good success. You do those 4 things, you find some success, but then, I got to mow the lawn. And we get distracted away from it. And, I look, our default behaviors are things that have been ingrained in us for a while. If we don't work to replace them, and I think it also goes to, if we're not all in to, whoever it is, Johnny Good says, do these 4 things. If we're not all into it, if we're just going to think, well, I'll try this and see if it works, it doesn't stick. But I like what you're saying. When I first read Noah St. John's book, the first thing I did was reach out to him.
Yeah.
Right. I like this, but I want to get to know you. And I think that's a powerful piece of.
So why is it that? So I'm going to use you for an. I'm going to pick on you a little bit.
Been using me for a long time.
Hey, here's the deal. And Lisa, good morning. So the question that we're posing this morning again is, why do we trust self-help books, the self-help session, gurus, whatever the case may be, yet we don't trust a mentor or a coach? So you do a lot of coaching, business coaching, you do life I always hate life coaching, but you
call it what you want.
Right. You're a motivational speaker, you're a published author, and yet you're not my first call, right? My first call is, Oh man, I was on social media, and this guy or this gal came across and she was riveting, and I went out and I bought her book.
For only $39.95, you too can.
But wait, there's more. And I've been contemplating this over the last couple of weeks. Of course, I wasn't here last week celebrating my 30th wedding anniversary, but I thought about it a lot when I was off last week and throughout this past week, past couple of weeks, and I figured it out.
Oh, well, do tell.
The reason that a lot of people trust the self-help gurus or the self-help books is because they aren't annoying like you.
Ouch.
Now, listen to what I'm saying. It's
been fun.
Yeah, good to know you. Here's why. To your point, what you had just said, you know what? I'm going to put the book down and I'm going to go mow the lawn.
Right.
I'm going to put the book down and live life for 2 weeks. I'm going to do something. And when I say that you're annoying, the bottom line is you've got your hand on me going,
right.
Hey,
I see when you're not doing it.
Because
right.
I'm here waiting because we had this appointment set. Where are you? I can't ignore you. Right. The other thing is this. I look at you, and as a human being, I go, you have faults.
Me?
How dare you tell me?
Have you been talking to my wife again?
How dare you tell me what it is that I can look at you and say, you didn't put your blinker on when you turned. You're not perfect. Right. So the interesting thing is, and why so much money goes there and why so much of it doesn't stick is, number one is these books and these gurus are a highlight film. I'm going to tell you a good story. You're not going to be able to see and live in the story and see what goes wrong. You're just going to read about my recollection of this story and the highlights of it.
Kind of like my fishing story. Are you saying it might not be 100% accurate?
Might not be 100% accurate, right? So it's just, I think that it's interesting that we'll choose that because it feels good. And what does a highlight reel do? It's in, it's out, it's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. So how does that apply to my life? Well, I did it for a week or two. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Next highlight. Right. Let's see what Lisa has to say. Lisa, good morning. Glad to have you with us. I think part of it is not trust. You don't hold yourself accountable to a book the same. A book doesn't call you on your own bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Someone in your space, oftentimes you have your guard up. Yeah, no, absolutely. And how dare you show me the mirror and show me myself, right?
I forget who the author was, but I was reading a book, and in the course of reading the book, I was kind of getting ready to put it down, and then like you turn the page and said, "Now don't put this book down." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, are you watching me?" But that author had really connected with me, and I've never forgot that. I have no clue what he was writing about. I doubt if I stuck to what he was saying,
Right.
but it really says, okay, I'll keep reading.
Ted says those people are more well known, and if you want, you can just stop when you want. Yeah. So yeah, I and I didn't think about that, Ted, in that piece of it, right? So if Kobe Bryant's going to say, God rest his soul,
Amen.
When he was around, if he was going to send me and my girls basketball team a training video, a 5-minute training video with a personalized message, you bet.
Hey, Kent, I hope you and your girls really enjoy this workout.
Right. And it could be the exact same things that you would have stopped in and said, and we would have all rolled our eyes like, oh God, right.
Well, you just brought something back to mind. I coached my daughter's basketball teams, and she's well into her 40s now, so this is a while ago. But I coached her for a number of years, up through her sophomore year in high school. Senior year, she made varsity. I'm looking forward to just being dad, sitting back and watching the game. She gets home from her first day of practice, and she goes out to the driveway. She says, "Dad, come out here. Look what Miss J taught me in shooting." And she shouts, and I looked, I said, I've been teaching you that for 8 years. Right. It's a thing that we were too close.
Yeah.
But when you have that outside look coming in, I think it makes a difference.
Now, so that's interesting. Hey, you're great at what you do. Not going to pay attention to you because I know you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird. Shayna, good morning. Glad to have you with us. I think coach, mentor, guru, whatever title we give them, are all people sharing methods and ideas they found beneficial. Why would anyone think that one size fits all works? They call us seekers for a reason. If it's for you, it will resonate. And good morning. Yes, but we turn and my we're all searching, right? And seeking, right? And I love that. And we're all doing that. Yet we're more apt to turn to turn to a stranger than we are perhaps somebody that we know that's close by. I'm going to pick on Lisa for a little bit. She's not here, so I'm not afraid of her right now. And she moved, so she can't get here in 5 minutes. So Lisa does a phenomenal job, and she's an NLP practitioner and coach. And she's just, and of course, you all know her from Lisa's Changing Perceptions that aired here on Sundays for a couple of years. And yet people will look at what she does and say, I can't afford it. Right. However, I will find $7,000 to fly out to San Diego to go to a weekend event where there's 200,000 other people in a stadium. And the person that I'm there who's going to change my life looks about 8 inches tall because I'm sitting back so far.
Unless you look into the video screens
right.
on either side,
right.
and up overhead.
And I'll tie into all the energy there and go, man, this is great. I'll jump on the plane back from spending my $7,000 saying, man, that is the best $7,000 I ever invested in myself, because all throughout the weekend, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'll come home, I'll fight with my wife, but say, look, I've changed. And 3 days later,
you haven't mown the lawn yet. What's going on?
Exactly. So absolutely. Lisa says, no one should be the way we do it. We should look for tools and examples that are right for our mission and make our own recipe for our best, for your best recipe, right? Yes. However, we don't like people standing over us, coach, and saying a little more salt. You know what?
Don't put that garlic in there. Yeah.
That's right. No, not that one. And I think it'd be beneficial for us, if we're truly seeking change, to understand that there isn't that secret recipe, and that it could take time. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, unless you're the colonel. The mission trip from our church was down in Kentucky, and the boy said, we have to have Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky because this is where it started. Yeah. And, you bring up several good points, which you always do. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter really what you read or who you're talking to. When you're ready to make changes, you can make changes. A lot of times we go to these things because somebody else has been telling us or suggesting to us that we need to make a change. Right? You need to make some change. Oh, here, read this guy. This guy will help you out. And if we're not ready, it's not going to happen. I've had several clients who have come to me who have just made amazing changes in their life, and then they send their son, their husband, their coworker to me, and nothing. Well, that person's not ready.
Yeah.
And I think if you pick up the right book, if you meet with the right person when you're ready, the changes.
And that's what Shana says there. When the student's ready, the master will appear, right? A stranger doesn't know our secrets and feel less. Interesting.
That's good. Yeah.
So what you're saying, Lisa, is we have a lot of insecurities that a book is not going to uncover. Hey, I need you to write down these 5 things. And you write down 2 and go, oh, this is starting to feel a little uncomfortable. Maybe.
I don't want to write in the book. I might be selling it someday at a garage sale.
Yeah, right. So maybe that's not going to work. Who knows? And so instead of doing or being held accountable for that, that's a way to do it, right? Yeah, and I agree with that. What's the most effective way? And we've got a couple, Lisa's a coach, and I know Ted does a lot of business coaching as well out there. Coach, you're a coach. I'm a coach.
Everybody's a coach.
Everybody's a coach. What's a couple of ways that you hold people accountable without feeling like you're judging them?
Well, I think it has to start with them. Kent, what would you like me to hold you accountable for? If I choose what I'm going to hold you accountable for, I'm just the jerk on the bench, right? But if I sit down with you and you're a basketball player for me, and you say, Coach, I really want to work on keeping my elbow in on my shot. I said, all right, we're gonna take some video tonight's game, and then we'll break it down and go through that, and we hold them accountable. But it comes down to the person that you work with, not me. From our perspective, we can see what's wrong with everybody else. I mean, it's clear we're all perfect, right? I can see what's wrong with you and you and you. And if I just go blindly running around, hey, you need to stop wearing red. You don't look good in red. Your watch should be on your other hand, right?
Yeah.
Left-handed people don't wear watches on their right hand. But if I'm continually giving you information,
I have
no clue. But the point is that it goes back to what we said just a few minutes ago. When you're ready, and you'll take whatever. But when you're not ready, it just becomes a conflict.
Yeah,
and that's a whole different rabbit hole we could go down.
Sure is. Shana says strangers are my favorite insight givers. They usually have no motive. Yeah. I love that too. And I Coach and I will just. Our families just know, like, oh boy, anywhere you go, you can strike up a conversation with somebody. Ron was the best at it. Hey, tell me something. Have you laughed today?
I'm writing yesterday, as you alluded to earlier. I was out on the trail for 62.58 miles, and I say good morning to every single person, and I get back about an 80% return.
Yeah.
But there are some of them who are just like head down. Yeah. Well, I had stopped in East Dundee to talk to a police officer. He was sitting there just monitoring. I stopped to say, hey, thanks for doing what you do. Happy Father's Day. And I started writing. And this guy who had gotten his car just started his ride, and I'm 30-some miles in. So I'm ready for a conversation. I don't want to be writing real hard. Right. Get beside the guy. Hey, good morning. Just starting. And he goes, no, speaking English. And I'm like, well, mucho trabajo, andale, go faster, see ya. But it's funny when a lot of times most people won't say good morning to me first, but when I do say good morning, they respond. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the book thing. Here's my book. And you mentioned, I don't know if you were talking about a stranger in person or the stranger who's written the book. Their motive is to make money on the book. Their motive, and I hate to be cynical here, but their motive isn't nearly as much to change the world as it is to change their world.
That's right.
And it comes across so often in them. You can see at what point they started writing the book. They were really motivated, right? And then in almost every one of them, you get somewhere in the middle, and it becomes very mechanical. You stop feeling the heart.
Ladies and gentlemen who are out there in the 216 the net stratosphere, I want you to know, if you were to look at my library, I'm perfect. I've got so many self-help books that I am wealthy. I am blessed. I am a sensational business person. I am the ultimate husband, ultimate father. The
5 languages of love.
I will tell you that I am absolutely the perfect design.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, let's do that, right? Ted says the things people need to watch out for with some of these gurus, quote unquote, is the brain programming they use to keep you coming back for more, even after you become a quote unquote master of their programs. Hey, absolutely. Hey, you know what? Now that you've done this, we've got a mastermind over here. It's only going to cost $10,000.
Yes.
You
But
know?
if you want to go to the ultimate mastermind, that one's 25,
Yeah.
but you'll become the ultimate.
Have you ever, and this goes out to everybody listening too, seen a self-help guru or somebody who's written several self-help programs
Mhm.
broke as fuck? Seriously, right? And that's one of the attractions to them. We here in America have pinned success, the definition of success, to being wealthy, but I've never seen a broke one.
Yeah. There's you obviously you bring up a lot of good points,
Yeah.
but it comes down to the fact that when we can find the secret, or we can find the 5 steps that people are going to buy into,
Mhm.
the secret is you're gonna give me a lot of money. Recently, I've connected with a couple of real good people who are really truly trying to help, but I've gone deeply into them. One of them is a guy by the name of Jay Jackson. Jay hired me to speak for his company a couple of years ago, and we've kept in touch throughout all this time, and he's constantly just not driving home things, but saying, hey, have you thought of this?
Yeah.
He's not saying, hey, dummy, do this. He's
Right.
saying, hey, have you thought of this? And he is one of the really good ones out there that is working to make a difference. Gives a lot of free stuff away. And then if you want more, you engage in him. It's not the
Yeah, that's what Ted's saying. It's a little bit of the crack. Get them hooked when they're young.
That's and Tony Robbins, you're welcome to come on the show anytime.
Anytime. We love you.
But Tony kind of figured out that formula.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you just enough free stuff to make you hungry, and then you're going to pay the $7,000, the $3,000 to get the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Because that's the secret ingredient that's going to make it work. And he's made his millions that way. You look back at the Zig Ziglars, the Norman Vincent Peales, the W. Clement Stones, some of the guys who started this industry, and they just had stuff for you. And Zig said something that has stuck with me, and I've modeled it my entire life. If you help enough other people get what they want out of life, you will automatically get what you want out of life. And I'm still waiting for that automatically part to kick in, but I believe in it. And and it's not about the money for me. It's about when you see somebody. I started with a new client this Wednesday, and within 3 days, the remarkable difference in this person's attitude. It's just, I feel so blessed to have been able to, help him get started on the right track in a short period of time.
Yeah. Lisa says that's about the hype and energy. I wish I could bottle it, but I more so wish I could get people to understand the energy is always in you. Yes. And that's the difficult thing about a mentor. That's a difficult thing about grabbing a coach, is when you start doubting yourself, I'm picking you up saying, listen, coach, this is, you got this. You've done this for years. Let's go.
I've got a speaking engagement this Thursday. When we were going through when she called me and talked to me, she called me for a reference for someone else, another speaker. But when she's talking right in my lane. And she goes, well, I never really pictured you as a motivational speaker. I'm like, why? Well, you just don't dance around and throw your arms around or not, but you do say a lot of smart stuff. So, it's going to be interesting.
Don't have
this
the pomp
Thursday.
And circumstance, right?
I mean, I can get energetic. I've been energetic on a stage, dancing back and forth. It's not me. It's not who I am. But it's interesting. What do we got here?
Yeah, so Lisa says, I have clients who tell me what to do. My response always is, I can't tell, or they want her to say, what here's what you need to do. I think is what she's saying. She says, my response is always, I can't tell you what to do for you. Your brain, your filter.
Yeah.
I can help you with tools to find the answer within you. When you do that, it's true changes because it's meant for you, from you, and your resistance is gone.
I call it treasure hunting, Lisa. I'm a treasure hunter, and you're my map. And I go find the treasures within you, but it's up to you to dig them up and use them.
Yeah.
One of my clients, and you'll love this, Lisa, before we can really get started on a good session, I need to take some advice from him. You should do this, or that's a great idea. I appreciate it. And but that's his way of bringing something to the table.
So and everybody out there, of course, is a guru in their own right.
In something,
right?
that's
in their
correct.
Own mind. Shana says, would you discourage a person from restarting a self-improvement like weightlifting if after the muscle gains were lost?
If it worked once, it can probably work again. But the second time around, it's never quite as easy. The first time we did the Daniel fast, it's a 21-day fast of all vegetables and clear water, no coffee or anything. 21 days, I can do it for 21 days. So we get through the 21-day Daniel fast, we go through this cleanse, everything's cool. And then, it lost probably 18, 20 pounds. And then a while later, it came back on. We need to do another Daniel fast. That one lasted 4 days. And then a couple weeks later, let's do another Daniel fast, and that one lasted like 2 days.
You call it fast for a reason.
Yeah,
it's quick.
I kept getting faster and faster, but you've got to go in with the right motivation, because if you don't, it's not going to work.
Here's how I would answer that, Shana. The amazing thing as people is we feel that, hey, I was in the gym, I had these gains, and now I've lost it. Life changes. Things that we need in our life change. So I would probably say there's a reason why that was taken out of your life, or you were too busy or whatever, or it became unmeaningful for you, because things that are meaningful for us, we do all the time. So my answer to that question would be, let's sit and talk about why, number one, it was lost, and number two, why you feel that you need to do it again, right? Because you may not need to, and it's as simple as that. And look at this, all the way from over in Africa, our good friend Sheila.
Oh, Sheila, good morning. Yes, I just posted on her winning attitude that we were live this morning.
Good evening from Kenya. Awesome. People missed you. People, we love you as well, sister. Hope things good. Good to listen to you guys once again.
She is doing great things over there.
Is. She's changing the world, which is awesome. Wendy, good morning, my dear. Love you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're well. Hope things are good. Lisa says, I think publishers are responsible for a lot of that sales pitch. They want what sells. I think most go into writing a book to make a difference than business centers. I don't know about that. Listen, there's a lot of people out there who moved west because not because of the climate, but because there's gold in them there hills.
Amen.
People wanted to, and still do, get rich. And if you read a lot of what people do, you notice that money is a big motivator.
Well, she's very right on with the point. The publicist, the publisher, they don't care. They just want to know what's going to sell. I mean, they're not into most of them. There's some good ones out there. Valerie Connolly, my publisher, I think she's a sweetheart. It goes totally down a rabbit hole. My novel from 2008, it's being looked at to be put into a movie. Wow. So that's exciting. So I'll be meeting with Valerie and her group coming up in July.
Nice.
So we'll see where that goes. But that rabbit hole is done. When the publisher gets a hold of something, they're looking at the potential sales. They're not looking at is this book going to make a difference in the world?
Yeah. No, that's true. I think publishers are responsible for a lot of the sales pitch. Oh, we just said that, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Way to be on top of the show, Ken. Okay. Shayna, is that your motive for writing? I can feel authentic sharing versus a weak money grab. One of the better bits of advice I have been given to never shop someone else's pocket. Value can only be determined by the participant. Yeah, and there are great authors out there, and Shayna, you and I are probably, and I know Coach is this way. We probably go out of our way to look for that true authenticness. We don't necessarily grab on, across my social media feed is, hey, tickets, these big powerhouses are all speaking in your area. Hey, tickets, this 3-day event, these powerhouses. Although I do listen and I follow a lot of those people, I look at it and go, I would waste my day going there, right? Because in my heart of heart, I would be just sitting there going, I just gave these people a ton of money to sit at a concert type of a thing, right? And I don't want to do that. If you take a look at a lot of my library, it's probably from a lot of minds and people that you haven't heard of. Why? Because I'm looking for that true, authentic piece.
I get a lot of recommendations on books. A lot of times I'll pick them up on iBook or something, so I have it at my availability. A couple of years ago, somebody suggested I read this book, You Can't Hurt Me. And I thought, all right, I got it, and looked at it as a Navy SEAL, a little bit of his story, and I maybe read the prologue and put it down. When I was flying up to Toronto, I didn't have access to my backpack. And I thought, well, what haven't I read? So I pulled that one up and, I kicked myself for not reading it 2 years ago when I first got it. But when the time was right, when I was ready for it, I had it available to me. And I think a lot of this goes back when the time is right. I think any author can probably do great stuff for you. But when the time is not right, none of them are going to, you're probably not even going to finish a book.
Yeah. Lisa says I don't professionally write. I basically puke my heart on the paper. Hence, I am not rich.
You are rich.
No, she's not. She's Lisa. Anyway, I used to sell for Tony Robbins. Ted said he truly is a master of brain programming. He understands, his marketing, and I want people to understand that he's a great marketer. His company that he owns now is great at marketing. He's great at selling to the 1%. The 1% are the people who are hungry, right? People who are like, I've got to do this, and they grab on to his concepts and ideas, which are not authentic. Which, I mean, he's brilliant. Yeah. And if you Lisa had me watch I Am Not Your Guru on Netflix, I would absolutely 100% recommend everybody watch that. It follows Anthony Robbins around, and you watch this guy, and he is Anthony Robbins. It's very, very a good documentary. But I'm going to tell you, you kind of started understanding like, right.
Well, that goes back to Charles Barkley when he was saying, I'm not your role model.
Yeah.
And he was right. He wasn't.
Yeah, Shayna says, that's like my buy up into Scientology. We always have to recommit to goals. Absolutely. They aren't one and done. Your life shifts all the time. And it's got to be for things that are meaningful. You bet. Ted says, if they wanted to truly help people, why price their services where most people can't afford them? Unless they go into a debt. You just hit a nerve with Coach. So Coach,
I've been looking for the self-help guru, the motivational guy, the coach out there is going to say, all right, hey, here's the deal. Just pay me 10% of how much I make you.
Success, right?
Success. This skin in the game, it drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. People have to pay because they have skin in the game or they won't pay attention. No, when they have blood in the game, they'll pay attention. when they need something, when they want something, they'll pay attention. But this skin in the game, it doesn't work. I mean, you just alluded how many people have paid the $7,000 to walk across Kohl's, and guess what? They've never walked across Kohl's again. And why do it in the first place? Just so I can say I can. The coach who's out there to truly help you is going to start where you're at right now at zero. You don't have to pay me now. You pay me when you start making money off of what I help you with. And when we can coach from that standpoint, some are going to make money, you'll make money. Others are not. Hey, nothing lost.
Of course, you're dialed in here to 21.6 The Net, searching in and grabbing your daily dose of encouragement right here on a Monday morning with
Two bald guys and a microphone.
And of course, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center, massage therapy, reflexology, acupuncture, www.mchenrymassage.com. Go there and you can absolutely book a session for them. I would highly recommend it for anyone at least once a month, if not once a week, depending on how stressful some of your life is. You would be amazed at where you carry your stress, people. Or give them a call at 815-385-8190. They've been with us since day one. We absolutely love those guys.
But Coach has hair. We're kind of like the fruit juice. As long as it's 10% fruit juice, it's 100% natural.
Memory popped up in my social network feed, and you didn't have hair.
I didn't have. I had it off for a pretty long time, but I let it grow during the pandemic, and now the wife will not let me shave it back off. Yeah. But I'm just a bald guy undercover.
Yeah, going to a professional sports event and concerts for a cool million escapes me, but I can see how much value it represents to them. Joy is valuable. Absolutely. Ted says exactly. I have no problem with that payment system. Fit the payment to the client. And that's the way Ted runs his business, Legal Legacy Home and Business. I wondered how hard it is to deal with all the adoration these charismatics have and keep grounded. Well, watch that. I Am Not Your Guru, and you'll see it's a struggle for him. Because you expend a lot of energy. Now, here's what I want to help people understand, and here's why we tend to move towards the self-help books and programs, and not towards a mentor or a coach. And take notes on this, because this might just help change your life or somebody's that you know's life. Number one, at no time does a mentor or a coach ever say your life should be modeled after my life. The reason we buy self-help books is there was a quick idea that it's like a sparkler, a quick idea that grabbed our attention and then fizzled out. But I've bought into that person, Mel or Tony or Eric Thomas or any other personality, and I say I want that life. They came from nothing to look at this, right? And you should never hire a coach, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's life, or a mentor, that's what you're striving for. Rancher Ron, he became my mentor, right?
Wow.
To the point where he and I would talk on almost a daily basis, and he just gave me great advice on life, on business, on family, on faith. But at no time did I ever go, hey, Alice, let's pack up and go live on a 185-acre cattle ranch where I have to bust my ass.
Yeah,
right.
He did.
So a true coach at no time do pro athletes go, well, I want to be like the coach. No, pro athletes are like, I want to be the best that I can possibly be. So they don't hire a coach because that's what the players dream of being. Yeah. In our lives, in what we do, you have to, number one, find somebody that you can connect with, somebody that you can share or be open enough to have them share their guidance and information with you. Right. I think that too often I look at Coach and go, and I'm picking on Coach.
I'm annoying. I get
I
it.
don't do this. But I look at you and go, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, yeah, great. You got stickers on your car that say Coach Papa. But I don't see you with a big bankroll in your pocket. So
I keep that all to myself.
You know, or I see him MC an event and he goofs up and I go, yeah, I don't know that guy. Yeah, that guy, I wouldn't have done it like that. I can't. This guy, he can't be. Right. You have to find somebody that you can connect with. You have to find somebody that cares enough about you, that wants to give you their time. Does that make sense?
It does. And one of the hardest parts of that is to make a living doing it, because when you make that connection, it's deeper than just a client vendor relationship.
Yeah.
It becomes a friendship, but then it begins to feel almost like they're paying for your friendship.
Yeah.
And there's a real issue at times in there for me, that one of the things they say about passionate people is passionate people will do what they do at their own demise.
Yeah.
The world, as we get started in it, says there needs to be exchange of value. You give me dollars, I'll give you wisdom. And when you're doing that and a person starts moving, you start to get that connection. And when people open up with their deepest, darkest secrets to you, and you help them through these, it becomes an issue for me at times to continue to collect. And any of my clients out there listening, that doesn't mean we're going to stop, but it is because I truly care.
Well, right. There always has to be an exchange for your energy, right? It's either energy for energy. I mean, there's got to be an exchange for energy. That's the way the universe is run, right? So we have to be able to understand that things in life aren't free. Okay, and I'm gonna use again. I'll pick on Lisa because Lisa and I have gotten to know each other, and she does a great job.
Thank you, Lisa, for deflecting some of this from me
with what she does. But the bottom line is, while she's there in a session with you, she has had conversations. Well, this is God given for you, so it's free. Well, no, her talent is, her time's not.
Right.
Right. So there are things that you can't get back your time. I can get back my, whatever I've given to you. If I've given you a book, I can get the book back. I can't get that time spent with that individual back. So in some way, there has to be an exchange, not for the gift that these people are giving, but for the time that it's taken out of their timeline. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Sure does.
Right. And if you understand, I first have to find somebody that I can relate with and that I enjoy spending time with. This person may not understand that they're even a coach, right? That's how you got started. But you love spending time. And you know what? You may not give them a check at the end of that session, but you may buy their breakfast.
Right.
You may be thinking of them at an odd time and purchase something and give them a gift without the without the anticipation of receiving anything back, just because you're grateful for the time that they've spent with you.
One of my games I play is I'll take my phone and my contact list, and I'll just flip it a whole bunch of times, and then it'll come up with 8 or 10 names on a page. I'll look down and say, who did I have a relationship with at one point but haven't talked to in a while? And just give them a call and say, hey, just checking in. How you doing?
Mary Shep from Living Low Sodium on Friday mornings at 11 here. When she feels moved, she does the same thing. and she picks one and she sends them like a $5 or a $10 Starbucks gift card in the mail, and just says, "Hey, I was thinking about you. I want you to know how truly awesome you are, and I hope you have a great day." That's all she puts in, and it's handwritten, and then she mails it to them.
Yeah, much cheaper than that. I call.
And but again, it's that exchange for something. You got to exchange the energy. So if you look for a mentor, it could be your neighbor. It could be an in-law. It could be somebody on a radio station.
Yep.
Right. It could be a way for you to connect, but there's always an exchange for not their talent. And that's what I want to help people understand. I'm not paying for your talent. I'm paying for your time. You're offering me your talent, your gifts, right? Because for the most part, that mentor is going to be a good-hearted person, right? But I've got to be able to pay for your time in some way, shape, or fashion.
Right. There's got to be an exchange. And maybe it's an exchange of advice. Maybe you've got the health business and I have a brain business, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and I can help you with this and you can help me with that, the old barter system.
Yep.
But in lieu of that, when it comes down to, helping people over life's challenges, you're right. I've been through so much crap in my life that I can help a lot of people through the crap in their life. Don't pay me for that. Pay me for my time. I like that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to understand what you've done with the self-help is you've done the same thing. You've paid them for their time to write the book.
Yeah.
You haven't paid for the book, right? They're giving you, because I could go into the bookstore. Do they still have bookstores? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw Barnes and Noble down on Randall Road the other day.
There you go. So you go
3
into a
cars
bookstore, and I can sit there and read the whole book. I don't have to pay for it, right? But when I pay for it, I'm not paying for the knowledge that's in the book. I'm paying for the time it took to write the book. If that makes sense. All right. The return on investment in people is always immediate or obvious. Agree or disagree?
I go back to when they're ready, because I've had people that I've invested time in and they haven't made a difference. One particular individual coached for about 4 months. He gave me a check at the end of every coaching, but he wasn't making the changes. So I fired him. I'm like, this isn't working. You're not taking my advice. He says, I'll be better. He did get better for a few months, but then went back into his same pattern. And I'm getting ready to tell him it's over when he fired me. I'm like, excuse me? He goes, I just don't think that we're connecting here. So this is my last session. I'm like, okay, what are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for somebody who can push me a little harder and do a few things. I said, all right. So I gave him a couple of names. He chose one of them. That coach got sick. I'm not sure it was working with that guy or whatever. So he passed him off to a group of coaches. By this time, he's paying 5 times what he was paying me. And then he asked me to go out for coffee. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, well, this group I'm with, they asked me for 5 years, my last 5 years of business numbers. And he said, the first 3 of those 5 years, I had made about $45,000 to $50,000 in profit off my company. He said, the 4th year, I made just shy of $100,000, $98,000 in profit. And this year I'm back on track to make 45 again. I said, so why are we talking? He goes, well, it was that year that I was working with you that I almost doubled my income. I said, so why did you think you need a different coach? He said, well, it just felt like you were making me do all the work. Right. And you can't make this stuff up. But the truth of the matter is there is a lot of people who want to pay for a coach to do that. But I don't know how long you've been coaching. Have you ever been able to play in a game you've coached?
Never.
And neither can business coach or life coaches. We're on the sideline.
Yeah.
And our job is to give you the tools to play the game.
Well, and then she corrects herself. So Shana says the return on investment in people is always immediate or obvious. She goes, is not. So it's not. It is not always immediate or obvious to the individual.
That's true.
Okay. I can take an athlete and see the progress if that's what I'm coaching to see. If I'm coaching for victories, then it may not happen under my watch.
Yeah.
Because I've focused on the end result rather than the process, right? And self-help books have the end in mind. A good mentor and a good coach has the process in mind. Okay, so we all know the story of the guru who sits at the top of the mountain, and you got to climb up all those stairs, miles of stairs or whatever in India or wherever it is, and then you get up there, and it's this guy, and 2 words is what this guru says, and you're like, I hiked all this way for, breathe deeply or whatever,
Right.
And I turn around and I go back down the hills. Well, the breathe deeply was him saying, listen, you just hiked up the stairs. And the air's thin up here. Breathe deeply.
Take a break, and then we'll have a
he's
conversation.
scratching his head, going, "I don't understand why that guy hiked all the way up here, then turned around and went down, shaking his head."
And the guru's like, another one left. I don't understand these people.
But then again, there's the person who grabs that, goes back down, and it changes their whole life, right?
Yeah.
And then they write a book about it. Anyway, but I think that a good coach understands the processes. A good coach, a good mentor says, I don't know what the end product looks like, but I can help you enhance or improve or work in these areas. I don't success to a good coach, a mentor, is that you are happy, that you're working hard, and that you're trying, right?
Yeah.
A bad coach, a bad mentor is one that says, well, hey, I want you to do this, this, this. I want you to do a spreadsheet. I've given you this, this, this. You need to do all these tracking tools. You need to make sure that this is. And when we get together, I'm going to hold you accountable to your results. I don't ever, in personal development and self-help, in life, in business, it's not about the results. Have we put the processes in place to make it happen? If you put the processes in place in your life, if you put the processes in place in your business, what will come are results.
I had last week when you were gone, I think you picked up part of the show, I had John Kennedy on who talked about combat brain training, but he looks at 3 specific events to make a difference. The number 1 is having a defined process. And it's so important to really define what that process looks like. Number 2 is to apply it on a regular, he calls it, I call it rapid repetition. He calls it stimulation, some type of stimulation.
Yeah.
But then the third is operate in an agile environment. In other words, don't get so stuck in your ways that you cannot react to what's going on. But it all starts with defining the process. And if you haven't taken the time to write out the process, you're not going to get where you need to get.
Yeah. There's magic. There's magic in putting, chokes him right up. There's magic in putting things down on paper. There's magic in being able to track and look and see where you're coming from. The only spiritually you will find at the top of the mountain is what you bring. I agree 100%. And that's really what Jesus also tries to teach, is that magic, or that piece of heaven, or that, we've got that wired in us. And you're right. And for so many years, and again, look, we could take a look at spiritual coaches. You look at all these churches that have come and gone. You take a look at all these leaders who people buy into, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, well, you've had a yucky life. Boy, you just preached to me for the last 15 years about this, 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 and this, and you went and did this. Interesting, right? And that human quest for inner spirituality, that human quest for obtaining that plane, right? We've got questions you never thought you'd ask in church Wednesdays at 12:30 here. And the interesting thing is, and and I've shared with these guys is, the unfortunate thing with Christians is they think the end game is heaven, right? It's not. The end game is how well do you treat your neighbor?
Yeah.
How do you love the person that you bump into, the person who cuts you off in traffic, those type of things. Jesus didn't go around and preach in heaven until he was on the cross.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when he talked
So
about
that was the only
paradise.
thing left at that point.
Right. What he did do was he walked around this earth making a difference in people's lives with the actions that he did. And if you are a follower of that, then that's it. Buddha, again, peaceful, right? I mean, it's you look at these prophets and these people, and that's the way you have to move. Humans are fallible. Anyway, on that spiritual thing, and again, there's another huge aspect of that. And most self-help books are going to have a piece of that spirituality in it because they know people are driven for that higher realm or that spirituality.
And when you take all those pieces and you put them out on a table, it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And now you got to start matching them up and seeing how they fit for you. We had a talk a while ago about the missing piece. What's the missing piece of your puzzle? And is it in this book? Is it in this mentor? Is it in this coach?
Yeah.
Is it in this radio show? And speaking of this radio show, we're down to the last 3 or 4 minutes. So
it's always good here. Quick, it goes by quick. The other. So I want you to understand that your mentor, the person who's going to make change in your life, is you, number one. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for a coach, it's not necessarily someone who hands you a business card and says, hey, I'm a health coach. Yeah. Hey, I'm a this coach. Hey, I'm a business coach. Right. Hey, I'm a life coach. It's not necessarily that. These people have techniques and ideas and ways to help people, but you may not connect with them. And that's okay, right? So you need to make sure that if you want to see lasting change in your life, if you want to make that and move away from the self-help myth or some of them and uncover it, is to understand that a well-written book, a self-help guru, is a series of highlights. It's like this. It's like the end of the Olympics when they're playing that music, and we're seeing all the great moments that happened in the Olympics, and we're like, man, I want to be an Olympian. No, you don't, because they spent years and years and years punishing their bodies, doing weird things to be an Olympic athlete. But we don't see the struggle. All we see is either the victory or the heartbreak. Right?
Amen. And it's the victory or the heartbreak, but the average race never gets noticed. And most of us are living that average race in life.
Yeah. And, Ted, you're right. Having 1,000 people come to an event makes it hard to make a connection with your audience as a guru or a coach. I feel if you're going to make a true difference in a person's life, a smaller group helps because you can relate to them one-on-one better.
Well, and a lot of times the great presenters, after they present, they put people into breakout groups, and then you become each other's way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do you got going this week?
Shana says, are there any books? Is there a book that you're into right now?
For me, it's You Can't Hurt Me. It's what I'm reading right now.
You Can't Hurt Me.
Story of a Navy SEAL who failed his first attempt at the military, and then came back, failed SEAL school 2 times, and kept at it, and eventually became one of the top SEALs in the country.
Nice. Let me see. The one that I highly recommend, and I want to make sure that I get this right. Oh boy, we're running slow. There you are. Well, it's called Think Like a Monk. Think Like a Monk. Train your mind for peace and purpose every day.
Think like a monk.
Yeah. Think like a monk. And it's awesome. It is. Listen, folks, we've got a huge week ahead of us again on Wednesday. Of course, tomorrow, nothing new. We are excited. We've got some new shows in the muzzle loader, I guess, being ready to be launched. One is going to be with Steve. Hold on, Scott. Thank you, Scott Dean, who owns the drive-in theater here. It's going to be a movie show. It's going to be a show all about movies, and it's really going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of people, even maybe some movie stars, which is really, really cool. And that's gonna be probably popping up in and around. Oh, I don't know. Probably up and around the middle of July.
All right.
So keep your eye out for that. Conversations with Coach, or I don't know what you're going to call that.
Coach has a guy, or Coach has a girl, or Coach has somebody. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to do an interview program. I've met so many cool people in my world that I'm just going to be bringing a lot of them in and interviewing them to share their story.
Yeah.
So a lot of good things. Tuesday night at Miller Point, the Chamber of Commerce has a mixer about the Damiac.
Yeah.
So if you're out and about Tuesday, 5:00 p.m., come on out to Miller Point.
Yep, it's going to be a good one. So big things happening here. Wednesday, of course, you start off with innovative strategies, and then you've got questions you never thought you could ask in church. Then Fridays, of course, are big days. I don't know. Thursday we might have some stuff on. Who knows? Anyway, for all of us here at 21.6 The Net, we can't thank you enough for getting caught in the net with us and joining
Two bald guys and a microphone
as you start your week, because this is the best way to do it.
And it's time to get off the bench and get back in the game. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, folks.